Welcome to the Authentic Living and Loving channel, where we share stories of those who dare to live life on their own terms, embracing their truth and inspiring others to do the same. I'm Dr. Jordan Alexander, and today we have an extraordinary guest, a woman who knows the power of strength, not just in the gym, but in life. After dominating the Canadian bodybuilding scene, she stepped away for nearly 2 decades, disappearing from the sport, from the spotlight, and even from herself. Now, after 18 years, she's making a comeback, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Her story is about transformation, resilience, and the courage to face yourself after years of hiding. It's an honor to welcome Autumn Raby to the show. Welcome, Autumn.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We got off to a little bit of a bumpy start with our technology. We were, you can see the blooper reel. It was just ridiculous. Anyways, we're here now. We're here now. So welcome, and it's sort of amazing that we're doing our recording on International Women's Day because really the strength and women having that power and being able to step into their own sort of identity, their own power, their own life on their terms is really important. And so sharing your story is I think going to be quite inspiring for people. So thank you.
You're welcome. It just happens to be on that day, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Here.
love that. Love that. Okay, so if we start a little bit about before the break. So if we go back to you at the top of your game, you're dominating the bodybuilding scene. What was life like back then, and what did success look like for you?
It seems like a lifetime ago. But I guess it first started when I always kind of wanted to go to the gym. Okay, so started going to the gym with my partner at the time, and um, it was something that I always wanted to do, but I didn't know where to go. I didn't know how to train. I didn't know what muscles were what muscles sort of thing. So anyway, we got into the gym a few times, and then he said that I had very good genetics, and eventually we decided to pursue that. And after training for probably about 3 years, I decided to compete in 2003. My first show was in Northern Canada, Northern BC, to be a little bit more precise.
People
So
are
I won.
picturing you on an igloo or something out in the middle of somewhere in
Well, people think
Labrador.
Canadians or igloos and huskies and stuff. So anyway, so I won my first show in Northern BC. And then I decided to do the BC provincials because all the shows kind of lined up. So it was, first show I won. Second show I did the BCs and became number one in BC. And then that year there was also a show for the Canadian Nationals. So kind of thought, eh, why not? We'll just
I
give it
know
a
it.
whirl. So did that one. So three shows in that year. At the Nationals, I came fourth. And I got a feel of that kind of bodybuilding and competing and being on stage and I was really proud of myself, and it was quite the rush. It's like, you're number one in BC, you do three shows, you're at the nationals. So the following year we did
That's
all our
pretty
prep
buzzy.
and
Sorry, I just want to interrupt and just because it's like you've you give it a try. Most people don't start at the gym and then within 3 years they're competing. I mean that's a really short window. Is that normal? Is that,
it,
to be competing in the nationals in your, with your freaky genetics and all that?
it's not normal. People go a lifetime and they don't end up turning pro, which the end goal is to be a professional bodybuilder, which is the IFBB pro. So to do that in three shows, just an upcoming girl who just started training. Um, it was kind of an anomaly, I guess you can say. Um, so Yeah, I
Did you
was.
appreciate it at the time? Like, did you kind of go, wow, look at how far I've come. I'm at the nationals, was it just still kind of a bit of a, oh, still trying things out, or
Um, honestly, before I even started to think about competing, somebody suggested, you could turn pro. The words were exactly, you could turn pro. So in my mind, I knew, okay, that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to just do this and turn pro. Did I think that it would happen at this quick of a rate? No, no, not at all. But um, I knew what I had to do and I just did it,
so
you know?
success to you was turning pro?
Yes.
Okay.
I yeah, yeah, I could say yes to that.
Yeah.
Um, because that's kind of the top thing that you could do in a sport sort of thing. So that was my end kind of goal, I guess.
So I interrupted you, and I'm sorry about that, but I just needed
No,
to
that's okay.
ask. But so your first year competing was 2003. You do Northern BC, you do the BC provincials, you win both. Who is this person? Wins both, ends up doing the nationals, comes fourth, right? So even that, a little kind of freaky, right? Like, one more and
Yeah.
you get something, right? Like for a second, fourth is still really freaking good for your first year. What happened after that?
Um, after that, I just continued training for the next year to um, compete at the next year's nationals or yeah, Canadian nationals. So 2004, did all the prep, did all the hard work. And um, oh my gosh, how to how to word my words? How to word my words? That makes a lot of sense. Um, okay, so we'll fast forward past all the training and all the dieting, and it was brutal. Like it was hard. I got to the national stage again, and at this point, you would think that, kind of, let's say the rules to going on stage. So it was the day of the show. It was 2004. I believe it was in Edmonton. Yes, Edmonton. Um, so there's prejudging. So basically, when you go on stage, there's prejudging in the morning, and then there's your nighttime show. So at the prejudging in the morning, I thought, okay, well, people are just kind of judging you and that sort of thing. And then at the nighttime show, that's when you're declared a winner or whatever, whatnot. So that morning, we got ready to do the prejudging, and I'm pretty much known for wearing a scrunchie in my hair, and that's pretty much what I did on stage. So everybody's all, dolled up, their hair's all done, and I got my hair pinned up and like I'm ready to go to the gym. And I'm being judged at the prejudging, which that's what it means, prejudging. So that's when you get judged. So it was close. I came second, and I just kind of say to myself, I missed by a hair. Um, honestly, I should have won the show. If I came with my hair done up, I know that I would have won this show. But I didn't, and kudos to the lovely lady who did.
So let me,
And
sorry. So so when you say you missed by a hair, you actually mean like the hair part. So
yeah,
people were judging you on the whole picture in the morning as opposed to the evening show like you that. So you just got it wrong. You got the wrong, it's like you showed up at the wrong place at the wrong time.
yep, in a black posing suit with a big white scrunchie in my hair. So it's as much as it's the physique, it's how lean you are, it's your posing, it's your symmetry. And I gotta say, not to toot my own horn, but I have the symmetry. And I showed up just ripped. Um, and then I had the white scrunchie in my hair. So at the nighttime show, everybody thought that, you know, and again, not to, you know, think that I should have won and I didn't win. The other girl was good too, but if it came down to it, I was leaner. And yeah, I guess that's the story of the 2004 Canadian Nationals. I came second.
Oh
And
no, but for a
again,
bo
that was
oh Jesus, like it like I
um,
often say like, oh, but for a bobby pin, like my kingdom for a bobby pin. Like if I only just had the one, but that was literally what happened. So were you totally gutted? Like was that like, oh my God, like I can't believe this? Did you want to just say, oh my God, I hate this. I'm not doing this again and stomp out of the room?
um, I was proud of myself, coming second, but oh man, I was angry too because I should have known, or we should have known. I'll throw we in there, but we just didn't. We're
Lame,
like,
is
this is
it?
the second
But
second year,
yeah.
second year competing. So again, it was just, looking back, it's kind of funny. I can tell this story and
Ha ha
yeah,
ha. I mean, that
yep.
sucks, right? Okay, but you came okay, 2004 comes and goes. You never wear another scrunchie in your hair ever. And then what happens?
Um, so then you prep again for the next year. So 2005, the Nationals was in Montreal, and I always competed as a heavyweight.
Which is
At
funny because you're like
125
5 foot
pounds.
nothing, right? Like how tall are you?
5'4¾", so 5'5".
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay.
So anyway, that year it was in Montreal, and the known favorite was a heavyweight bodybuilder that she weighed probably 200 pounds in the heavyweight class. So basically knew that she would take the heavyweight. Just kind of, you kind of do your math at this point, the third time, second time, third time around. You make sure that all your hair is proper and your pins are in, and however you put it with the bobby pin. Anyway, so I shredded down to middleweight because I knew that I had a good chance of winning the middleweight, and then once you win that class, all the lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, they compete at the end for the overall. So I guess okay. So well, I won the middleweight class, and just like the cutoff weight was 125, and I was bang on 125. When you get on that scale and you don't know whether you're like a pound over or a pound under, it's Anyway, I was bang on. Um, so I ended up doing the overall against her name was Colette, and just like, oh my gosh, just to be on stage with somebody that big and you're competing and you're I'm it's like I'm on stage again posing and trying to be bigger than her. It's like this is her and this is me. This is her. This is me. It was quite something. So, and I knew, it's her hometown, and politics is involved in bodybuilding, and you can't tell me that it's not. But that's another story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're doing the pose down and stuff like that. And um, I guess we knew with Colette, she had one flaw. And like I said, in bodybuilding, it's all about symmetry and being lean and stuff like that. So her one shoulder was, not symmetrically because she was in an accident. Anyway, I kind of knew if I got in the stage with her that I would win the overall because I didn't have a flaw at that time. Um, so anyway, blah, blah, blah. It came down to, the overall winner, and they announced me as the overall winner. So just kind of reliving that moment is, I guess it's pretty freaking cool. So
Well,
I was number one in Canada.
let's stay in that moment. Let's stay in that moment. What's going through your head? Like what's share with us.
Um, I guess, you know, you work really, really hard. at the end of the day in bodybuilding, to turn pro, that's, you're with the elite bodybuilders of the world. And to be on that stage and being crowned, number one in Canada. And then, you know, I, I turned pro in 5 shows, which is, it's very rare. So I knew that that could possibly lead to bigger and better things. And I also, I was just so proud of myself. It was just, I can just picture the moment, and it was really something.
Do you go back there
So
often? Do you sort of do you think about that often, or because it feels almost like you're revisiting it after a long hiatus? Like, did how often do you think of that? Because it's a pretty big achievement.
um for me it was I guess thinking back, that's uh, I thought it would lead to bigger and better things. So I knew that if I had that IFBB pro status, I could continue in bodybuilding, but there was one thing in my life that happened that I guess that didn't allow me to pursue that any further. So it was kind of bittersweet. I knew that I could compete, one day on the Olympia stage or the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic or something, but then again, I couldn't. So I know a lot of people are wondering why I didn't compete further or why I just stepped away from bodybuilding entirely. And
So you know that I have to ask the question, right?
yeah, I know. I
So
know.
what made you step away? You're at the height of your, defining success as going pro. Like what pushed you? It was out of the sport. Was there a moment or a feeling or a what made you step away?
At that time, again, this is 20 years ago. There weren't a lot of other shows that you can compete in, and the most prestigious ones are in the United States of America. And I'm not allowed to go to the United States of America ever due to uh, you're young and foolish and you do things that maybe you shouldn't do, and you don't, know of the repercussions of those actions until it kind of happens, and then, you know, um, yeah.
So did you feel like so obviously, I mean, you have the 2004 where you've got the oops scrunchy incident, so you don't have full information. Do
Sorry.
you think that once you got to be pro, do you think that you almost were avoiding or didn't really think about, hey, look, most of this stuff happens in the USA? And did you just like was that must have felt like a closing of a chapter or something if everything's happening down there and you can't get down there. Did you try and get down there? Like,
I thought, and this was the reason why it was so important for me to turn pro. I thought that I could, and this is actually what I did. What I did was I applied to get a pardon,
yeah.
um, because I'm now a professional athlete, and some professional athletes get pardons and stuff like that. So I thought, I'll put in that application, and then it'll be okay. And so got a lawyer, and did the pardon, and they um they denied it, and then I said, okay, let's try that again. Maybe there was a, hair that was out of place or an I that wasn't dotted or a T not crossed. Tried again, and they basically said, no, please stop asking us because you're not going to ever enter the United States again. So at that point, my final dream of competing on the Olympia stage or the Arnold or anything was kind of, it was done. Like my bodybuilding career seemed done. So to get to that place and then you can't really go any farther, it's heartbreaking. It I had all that hope and things would go a different way and they didn't. So it's kind of like that dream was done or, you know, okay, let's turn pro. Okay, check. Yep, did that. Next.
Right.
So
So you didn't think about like I don't know the bodybuilding scene that well, obviously. Were there not shows in Europe or other places that you could compete in? Or I mean, a lot of plane rides
there
go through the States as well, so it's kind of
there I I'm pretty sure that there were. Obviously there were. There's a lot of countries out there, Germany, Australia, you know, places that you could compete, but it would be like winning, I don't know, Miss Germany, and it's not everybody dreams like it's the bodybuilding dream to be on the Olympia stage. So that's only one place. And could I have competed more? Sure, you know, but back in the day, you know, there's no prize money. There's minimal for women, just being of, you know, um, it just wasn't worth it. Like it would, I'd spend more on training and diet and protein powder. And I didn't have any supplement contractors or endorsements or anything like that. So it would be more expensive just to compete to get, you know, nothing in the end, which, yeah.
yeah, I mean
Even
it's
at the national level, to be honest, even at the nationals winning everything, the prizes that I got were beautiful trophy, flowers, and um, a ring that I still have to this day. It's probably one of the only things that I kept. But just the lies about even the ring. Oh, it's diamonds and it's you know worth $5,000. So I thought, oh my God, okay, I just got a $5,000 ring. So yay! And then I had it appraised, and it was cubic zirconia and a glass. So the thing that meant more to me on that ring is the engraving on the inside saying, you know, Canada's champion. So just so it's I don't know. I guess after that, it's just it puts a poor taste in your mouth because um, it's just it's not worth it. But it wasn't worth it to compete anymore because again, it's my ultimate thing would be to go and win the Olympia. And if I had the opportunity, I would have went. And I know that I would have you know, at least got on that stage and I know I would have won. This man, the drive that was inside of me at that point, I would have.
So you're at your height of your career. Someone pulls the rug out, yes, there's, we all do silly things when we're younger and also when we're older. And so that whole pathway for you ended up with a dead end sign. And you decide, okay, no more bodybuilding. Did you stop going to the gym? I mean, at some point you decided to go underground. What led to that sort of shift from going to the gym, training every day to
I probably trained for, I don't know, a couple of years after that. And then I guess I needed something different. And I felt that, I don't know, I let myself down a little bit and I let my partner down. And I thought that my partner kind of deserved better. I just kind of put myself into a little bit of a rut. And anyway, long story short, I ended up um, leaving said partner and went back to, I guess, the mainland because at the time we went a little country house in the country sort of thing. And what is it? Eastern BC, like guess Eastern BC. Anyway, just a few regrets on that front, but that's a whole different story. Anyway, I got into another business that I basically put all our savings and money into a business on the Lower Mainland, and I guess I missed my partner that much that I had to just kind of have him attached to my hip still. And so me and him and another person got into another business and tried to make a go out of that. So entirely different business than bodybuilding.
Yeah. And that was a success.
Um, it turned out to be a success. It was difficult times. But what started out as, one truck and people who aren't really familiar with the business. I don't know if I should mention what kind of business it was because nobody really knows. Um, okay, so the business was just to make the story even better. Um, flagging company, which is traffic control in anywhere is traffic control. So,
It's traffic
yep.
control down here in New Zealand as well.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, um, so basically, I've got me, my ex-husband, and the new boyfriend. We started a traffic control company, and at the time, I thought flagging was actually, how you make flags, and you got your flags of each country. I thought we were making flags, but clearly we weren't. We were doing traffic control, and flagging was just the terminology that they used. Anyway, so we started that, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and more people, and ended up doing the flagging for the Olympics. It got really big.
It was
Um,
successful. It was a big success.
Successful. It was successful, not big. It was a big success.
Yeah.
Sorry, sometimes it's hard to think about those moments in time and talk about them. But anyway, it got to the point that it was so successful that we looked to another partner to kind of buy in. And at the time, we had two choices. And let's just say the new boyfriend that I picked turned out to not be a good fit for me. And there was a lot of heartache there. But I wanted to feel the love that I thought was there. And it's kind of like um, searching for love in all the wrong places, sort of thing. Um, he ended up, well, let's just say one day I found somebody else's purse under our bed. And I opened the purse and there was ID for some girl who lived in the United States, of all places. And it turned out that he was cheating on me with her. So,
Nice
um,
little salt on the wound there.
a little bit after putting, so much into that. And anyway, that happened, but I kept doing this and trying to, love me. Oh, love me. Why won't you love me? What did I do wrong that you don't love me, and just like a puppy dog. Just, oh my God, it was looking back, I just shake my head and I cough a little.
So
Um,
so you had this business. So what's going on now? You've got this personal and business mixing and very complicated with your ex-husband as well. I mean, it sounds like a recipe for disaster, and it sounds like it's heading towards that way.
um, it did. It kind of, we decided to sell the portion of the company and still be owners and stuff like that. So anyway, long story short, there was party A, which we should have went with, party B, which we did go with. And again, I sided with the wrong person in that business decision, knowing that I should have not. But you're still planning for that. Oh, if I do this for you, maybe you'll love me. If I do this for you, maybe that kind of whole crap. Anyway, we sold to whoever we did, and stayed on as owners and kept working for a year, and then against my better judgment, even my lawyer said, don't sign this deal. So the year of work came up, and we got a portion of the money that we got for the company. And at the end of the first year, we should have got a check for like $300,000. And I remember this meeting, and it grinds me in my mind all the time. It's one of those hard ones to get out of my head. You're sitting at a meeting waiting to get a check for $300,000, and the guy says, "Oh no, here's your check for $0 because you didn't meet this requirement of some lingo and some crap write-up contract that he knew the whole time that he was going to get the business for absolutely nothing." So it's hard to work with somebody or for somebody that is so deceitful and so dishonest and just such a horrible, that's not how I would have conducted business. Anyway, so he ended up firing my ex a few months later. And then once he was gone, it just felt just dead. And I was working for somebody who I hated. And I decided to leave the company. And that was very heartbreaking for me, because that was supposed to be, my next dream of sorts. And it wasn't.
So you've got this one sort of premature end for your bodybuilding career. You've got this hugely successful business that ends up turning into a bit of a shit show with, all parties concerned. And so that's another sort of smack to the head. Where are you at personally now? Like where is Autumn thinking, what happens next?
At that point, I became just lost. I was devastated from just being crapped on. I I didn't know what to do next. I was heartbroken, alone, regretted a lot of things that I did, and I basically just started hating myself, I guess, for a lot of different reasons. And in the next chapter of my life, I ended up, I guess, meeting somebody new, and maybe it wasn't the first person I would have chosen, but I thought he was, a good person and hardworking and that sort of thing. But that in turn turned into more of a he didn't like the bodybuilding. He didn't think that I looked good. He didn't understand why I could, do the things that I did. And he basically just beat me down into like I was nothing.
So you've had these experiences. Autumn's done the bodybuilding, she's done the business thing, and then it sounds like there's almost like that crossroads in there where your next steps were, I mean, quite, it sounds like it was quite a difficult time. Were you depressed? I mean, there was certainly self-doubt and you're beating yourself up. Was it imposter syndrome? Because you're at this high end of the of the business world, and now you're, the business is gone. A lot of people in that position with these sorts of things could feel pretty unworthy and wanting to be invisible. Like what, is a pretty low point. What did you believe about yourself then, back then?
I thought that I would say depressed. I hate using that word because I guess everybody is depressed at some point in their life. But I was depressed. I didn't think I was worth anything. I thought I was ugly. I thought um, I felt so ashamed of the person that I was, and nobody would love me the way that you know nobody would love me. Period. Um, some people say that they love you, but it's in different ways, and it's not a love to your true self. So just focusing on me, I felt like I was nothing and worthless and ugly, and I just wanted to, hide in a cocoon, and that's kind of what I did.
So how
And
long
then,
was, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
How long was this cocoon sort of, how long did you stay in this cocoon?
I guess I kind of tried to do the math the other day. Um, there were a good 7 years of 7 years of self-destruct mode where I got involved in drugs. And I thought at some point in that if I do enough of them, then, maybe that next line will be the one that just, puts me under, and then I don't have to feel like this anymore. So that's what I did. And I thought it was like that Band-Aid effect that um, if get high or whatever, then it just takes you away from the real world. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter what I looked like. I didn't look in a mirror for 7 years. I used to take pictures of myself on a daily basis. I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. I had the lights dark in the house. I didn't go outside. I didn't want people to see the person that I was turning into because I was so disgusted in myself. I didn't want to be around anybody else. I didn't want to be around my family. I had the opportunity to spend more time with my family, and I chose to stay home and do lines of cocaine instead, which is, oh my God. It's looking back, the amount of destruction, let's just say, that I did to myself, and nobody even knew, but yet I was doing it right in front of their nose. No, no pun
Pardon the
intended.
pun. Yeah. So that's pretty significant, right? So that's 7 years of hard out, you know, addiction. That's big addiction. I mean, were you into drugs before that?
I think um, I was first introduced to drugs with a boyfriend long, long ago, and at that point, I didn't even know what you would do with drugs. I, you know, put them in my shoe and wonder why when I took it out of my shoe, why it was all gone because it melted in my shoe.
Yeah.
That's how like oblivious to all of this. So honestly, no, no, I wasn't, but I knew that um, uh, I just couldn't be around them. And if you're around them, and I was around them due to myself, and when you have, you know, unlimited supply around you, sort of thing, you tend to just do it, but I did it to hurt myself more than anything else. And I did. My body will never kind of be the same after that. And in a different aspect of this story, the hole in the middle of my nose got, small and then bigger and then bigger and then bigger. And now it's the size of what we call in Canada a loonie or a toonie, which is, pretty much it's gone. And I went to a plastic surgeon and he said that there's nothing that they can do about it. So I'm forever in this reminder of the pain that I caused myself because I just didn't. I felt that down upon myself and that unworthy of myself and that my life didn't matter. And if I'm in a cocoon, nobody else would, remember me or um I lost contact with everybody. People that, I would talk to on a daily basis. I just dropped off the face of the planet. And a few of them kind of, maybe more than a few, I don't know, um, wondered if they'd get the call saying that I'm, dead. So that's pretty shitty for them and for me.
So something changed. You're sitting here now. You don't do cocaine anymore.
No, it's been 3.5 years now. Yay me. Woo. Um,
Fantastic.
right? Um,
That's like that's a big hurrah, really.
it is. It is. And for those people who can actually relate to it, it's kind of like you go, okay, day one. Okay, yay. And then day two, yes. And then it's day one. Because I heard you swear, so that's why I just swore. You said shit. Generally, I don't like to swear. But and then it's day one, and then it's day two, and then it's, day seven, and then you're back to day one. And, anyway, now it's kind of like it's been years, and I day one is like so far gone that it's just yay me,
Yeah,
yay
that's
me, because
pretty
that's a
amazing.
tough
That's
one.
so you've been clean for 3.5 years, and for some reason you decided, it's time to go back to the gym. What was going through your mind when you started to think about, actually, I want to go back to the gym. What was the driver for that?
Um, to be honest, which I'm definitely being honest, um, I always thought about going back, but I wasn't the same person that I was before. And as I mentioned before, you need the symmetry, you need to be that perfect body on stage. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I'd always like to compete again, or do a guest posing because I used to do those and stuff like that. Um, but now I had that same flaw that girl that I beat on stage has. So it's kind of like I so get that flaw. And my flaw to me is I'm older, I'm more wrinkly. I'm really kind of not, but you get older, you think stuff. I had stomach surgery, so I have, scar on my stomach. So it's that perfect package isn't there. Even when I had that perfect package, even then I didn't think that I had that perfect package. But looking back, yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh, isn't that the truth with so many women will relate to that. I mean, you look back at photos when you thought you were ugly, you thought you were fat, you thought you were all these terrible, terrible things, and actually none of them were even remotely true.
It's all in that head. If you can get it out of your head, then you're okay. Um, so yeah, for years I thought maybe I'd like to, and maybe that's what drove me in my mind that's kind of I wanted to get back to that autumn. And
Yeah.
then it wasn't um I started talking to my ex about it a year ago, and um I'm thankful to that. Um my sister has been on this journey with me um, more than anybody that I've talked to about things. And even to this today, maybe she knows everything. Maybe I'm missing a few things, but um, it wasn't until I told her, I'd like to go back to the gym. I might, I'd like to maybe go online because, for me, um, um, and maybe sometimes I think I wanted to go back so people kind of remembered me and they knew that I wasn't dead. And maybe, somebody would show up to my funeral. It's just so weird to say stuff like that. Um, and I think that until I talked to my sister about all of this stuff, anyway, long story short, until she said, just follow what you want to do. And it's kind of about you. And it doesn't matter what I think. I'm proud of you no matter what you do. Um, it wasn't until then that I decided that I wanted to kind of come out of my cocoon. But then I didn't know how. And she helped me in ways that I will be forever grateful because she helped me save my life. So, um, yeah.
You did the heavy lifting. Sounds like,
Yeah.
yeah, literally and figuratively. And so you're sort of going back, um, rebuilding muscle, but you're really rebuilding your identity again. So you're walking into the gym after literally 18 years, right? So, you're terrified, you're empowered. How are you feeling? Like what's going on as you're starting to slowly rebuild your identity?
I was nervous. I was, oh gosh, walking through the gym, finally finding a gym that I wanted to go to. It was more of a family gym. It wasn't your big, musclehead gold. No, sorry, no offense to the guys with muscles, no golds or anything like that. So it was a little family gym in town. And I walked in the door and how are you here to sign up? I'm like, no, no, can I just kind of look around? And so she took me on a tour and I could remember that gym has a smell to it. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
not a
called
bad smell.
stinky sweat, stinky, yucky sweat, dirty boy smell.
And you hear the clanging of the weights, and I was scared. I felt like the oldest person in there. All these young people walking around, and I got to say, the gym attire from now to 20 years ago. Oh my God! Anyway,
What are you,
anyway.
what's the, oh my God.
Well, and it's funny because it's the gym attire, and it's also um on the stage in bodybuilding. They wear like a thong and the gym pants go right up the crack of your butt. And it's like I I I don't know how people can wear this. So I'm coming in my big joggy sweatpants and a big sweatshirt, and I don't want anybody to see me. And then I decide to train that day, and I take my shirt off, and I look in the mirror, and then I'm like, I looked in the mirror again, and then I looked, and I thought, oh my God, I still got, I still got a little bit of muscle.
You still got
And so
some
I felt
pipes on you.
I felt right. I felt a little bit more at ease. So then I left, went out the door, and she's like, "No, no, you have to sign up." I said, "No, no, do you have a free pass or something like that?" So she gave me a free pass for a week. I went once, and then she kept harassing me, and in a good way. She gave me another 3-day pass, and then finally a month and a half later, I signed up for 1 year reluctantly, and
Why was it
I said,
reluctantly? Why reluctantly?
because then I knew that if I had the pass, then I would have to go to the gym all the time. And as much as I missed it and I loved it, I train pretty heavy, and I'm going to be full tilt like I'm going on stage again. I just can't. That's just how I kind of do things.
How
But
you roll. Yeah.
right. So, but I was scared and intimidated, and um, yeah, those are the two big ones: scared, intimidated, and um, it was hard because you go into the gym thinking in your head you used to look one way, and then you go in and you look totally different. So I'm always comparing myself to 20 years ago until today, and it's very hard for me to get just past. I don't look the same, so
So
I kind of suck.
how has coaching helped? Because I mean, we all get older and we all get a little bit more like, oh wow, gosh, that's gone a little further south than I like. But I mean, how has coaching helped you kind of um keep going to the gym and keep rebuilding that identity?
Coaching has made me feel and I guess look at myself differently. Um, it's a process that I didn't understand at first and that I didn't want to understand. But once I actually sat there and got the guidance and the self-worth came back, the confidence came back, the wanting to get out and smell the roses, wanting to um, go outside and look at my birds rather than staring for years and years and years out a kitchen window looking at the birds. It has enabled me to come out of my shell. I can honestly say the cocoon stage is behind me to the point that I'm kind of got, one, maybe one and a half kind of wings kind of popping out. Um, it's so hard to put into words how it's helped. Just with my self worth, self confidence. Um, I'm not alone. I don't feel alone.
You've done a really hard thing. I mean, going back to that, whether it's the gym, it's sort of, that's the physical side, but there's a lot of stuff going on in your mindset as well. And it almost, feels or seems like, you know, do you have something to prove to the world, or is this come back for you? Because there's been a lot of, stuff you've shared today about, well, this was good because this person thought that was good and that person was saying, so is this come back for you, or are you trying to prove something?
All my life, I've always tried to prove something to somebody else or taken their lead. And now I'm proving to myself that I am true to myself first and foremost, not, what other people think or what I think my family thinks or it's I want to be a better person for me, and that's the path that I'm going on. And if I wear the baggy track pants and whatever, it's for me because that's what I feel comfortable in. It's not to try to appease other people or compete with other people. I compete against myself now again, and that's a bigger thing that um
Yeah. So what would you say to people who might be thinking that strength is just physical? What would you tell them about the emotional resilience that you've had to tap into, and how you can build that?
I think the emotional stuff is a lot harder to deal with than the physical strength kind of stuff. Um, and even if you're strong and weak, you can still be strong. But the emotional Um, the emotional stuff, if you have somebody that can kind of help you along with that and encourage you that you're not broken, you're not, um, again, you're not alone.
It's been such a wild ride, right? Like there's been so many paths and so much deep um, impact in so many areas of your life. Have you forgiven yourself for all of those years that you spent in hiding, the years that you spent, doing things that maybe weren't the best for you? Have you forgiven yourself?
Totally forgiven myself. I would probably say no, but I'm farther along than I was before. Like that's an interesting question, Mr.
The
Miss Mister.
interesting question for you. Oh, I'm sure there's profanities going on your side of the screen.
Um, no, I haven't fully forgiven myself. No, no. And it's not that I'm seeking anybody's approval or anybody's, not even approval. My story is what my story is, but I, I'm getting closer to forgiving myself, I guess you could say. I, yeah,
Baby steps.
it is baby steps. And, um, yeah, a few things are just kind of racing around in my mind. I think I don't, how do I word it? I think at the top of my list is I don't forgive myself for what I did to family and not spending those quality times with my family when I could have, kind of thing. So those are like little things that I kind of have a hard time forgiving myself for. But I know who I am now that I will be able to forgive myself, I guess.
Mm. Yeah,
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 that
yeah.
baby steps, baby steps. That's why I still need coaching. We're not there
That-
yet. We've got one arm out, and that's about it.
That's right. I mean, I wanted to ask you about that, the wings and the coming out sort of thing. So they're starting to form. That's good. You've got one and a half. That's fantastic. So what does authentic living mean to you now? Are you authentic living? Have I got the
I
wrong
think
guest on the
now,
show? It's the authentic living loving channel. It's like, well, no, I don't have a freaking clue what authentic living is.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Um, what was the question again?
What does authentic
I think
living mean to you?
authentic living means to me is honestly, it's just being more true to myself and putting myself first. And I've not done that kind of thing, you know? So authentic living is being true to myself and the ones around me that I'm true to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, being your true to yourself is it's so hard. I'm sure there's people out there right now that are struggling with feeling lost or afraid, or they're in their cocoon and they might be thinking about, hey, it's too late. It's, as I'm a certain age, midlife people think that it's this all the time. And what would you say to them? Because you're not 30 anymore. You're, 35. And, like what,
Right.
I mean, what would you say to these people that are struggling right now?
Well, I would say it is definitely not too late. It's funny you mentioned that because I had a few people mention to me um, that they find me inspiring, and I thought, what? Who? Um, so it's not too
Why'd you find that surprising?
because I didn't think that anybody would actually say that to me again. Like it kind of made me feel like I'm going down the right path. And if I can help anybody see the light at the end of the tunnel, that there is a light, you eventually it will come. It, like I said, it's not too late. You can always try new things. You have to just go through that fear and
Yeah.
not putting yourself first, all that kind of stuff. And you can do it. And again, I say it for me, um, I couldn't have done it without, you know, coaching and understanding what authentic living is all about and being true to yourself. So,
So it's possible. I mean, you've had a rocky road, a
yeah.
roller coaster road, and you're doing it. You got one and a half wings out of the cocoon, and what's next? You're going to get that the rest of the other half of the wing out because that's just like this giving me this visual of this poor little butterfly. But what's next for you? Do you think you'll compete again? Do you think there's anything more going to happen in the bodybuilding thing?
I guess it depends on, see, the competition thing. Well, on a few aspects, I just don't like what they wear anymore. So I don't know about that.
You
And
can
I'm
bring your
not that.
scrunchie. Bring your scrunchie.
Oh my God. Um, I don't know if competing is in the cards. Maybe if I, go to an amateur bodybuilding show and I do a guest posing and can inspire some of the young ones out there that, you know, you can still do it at my age. There's also, older people shows over 35. Who knows? I might get into it and do my own show for people that are, I don't know, like over 50 or something like that, just
Sounds so
whatever.
good. That sounds
Right?
really awesome. That sounds like a really good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm focused now. I get it that I'm not that same person I was years and years and years ago. Obviously, it's been 20 years. So, um, I like to focus more on the midlife people and the older people and people who maybe get too intimidated to go to the gym and take them by the hand, whether it's visual or virtual or whatever the computer lingo is out there, but help them along because it's so important to be active and healthy. And if you were like me, if you had some kind of desire to go to a gym and you just don't know what to do, well, I got that videos for you. I don't know what to do in the gym, and I went for how long? I look at
Yeah.
some of this, I have no clue.
Yeah, it's so important. And the more that you hear about osteoporosis and women, sort of the stuff they never told us when we were younger about the lack of estrogen, what it would plays havoc with your health. And I was just watching this thing from Mel Robbins. She had this orthopedic surgeon on her show, and she was literally in tears about, all these hundreds of thousands of women that she has done work on. And when they're older, to get a hip replacement, there's this deteriorating bone, and that she's got to drive this thing. And the statistic was that 30% won't survive. It's like, holy cow, like women just aren't getting the information about, we've got to take care of our health. And weight training, bodybuilding of sorts, even for older people is critical. So I'm liking where you're heading with this because that's, I mean, that's how do you define success now, at this stage in your life?
Hmm. Honestly, I guess in a way, I find success now just being here talking with you because I'm at this point in my life. I'm at the point in my life that, I can relate to people like me that they go to the gym and it hurts so much, but you still try to push it through. Um, to be an inspiration to people, like, oh my God, if I could be any kind of inspiration to anybody, that's really freaking cool. Um, but I'm an inspiration to myself now. And I look back at my old, pictures and stuff like that, and I'm proud of me. I did that and I'm proud of myself and I'm proud of myself. And that's a big thing to be proud of yourself. Just having this conversation with you and telling a bit of my story. Some things might have to get edited out, but um, that's just me. And we all have a story, but we can all make it through. Um, yeah,
It's so good.
it's
It's been such a pleasure to hear, you know, hear parts of your story. Well, to hear your all of your story, but some of the parts that, weren't so slicked back, and to see a little behind the scenes, and sharing really vulnerably about your journey and your cocoon, and it will inspire a lot of people. And I think the conversation's been so powerful because it's not just about the bodybuilding. It's about the weight of the emotions, the strength that it takes to come back from the darkness, and the courage to be seen again. So fantastic, you
yeah,
know?
it's huge. Yeah, thank you for that.
It's pretty amazing. And so I want to thank you, and our listeners will want to thank you as well for sharing
Oh
your
God.
story today, you know? Um,
Mhm.
I know there are so many, so many people.
Awesome.
I know there's so many people out there who really needed to hear this, and I think you needed to say this too. They need to know it's never too late, and they're not alone, and that they matter, and that it's important, and that they're important, and you're important. And to our listeners, if this resonated with you, take that first step, whatever it looks like for you. If you need support, you need coaching, or someone just to remind you that you can do this, reach out, re-listen to this this
Oh dear
recording.
God.
You know, you don't have to do it alone. You really, really don't. So.
No, and I couldn't have done it alone. So I would like to thank you personally for helping me on my journey that I didn't think at the end of the day I would be at this point. So thank you for your coaching and every single word that you just said to your viewers. There you go. You need any help? You know where to go.
Thank
So
you. Thank you, Autumn. Thank you. And you're well on your way, and more and better things to come. And I'm sure we'll have you again with your next steps once you get that second wing out of the cocoon. That's so good. All right. Until next time, I'm Dr. Jordan Alexander, encouraging you to join the UBU revolution because life is too short to live anything less than your truth. Thanks again. Thank you so much. We'll see you again.
welcome.